live.
All right, good morning, everybody. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. Please note that when you join the meeting via Zoom, all participants will be placed in the waiting room and your microphone will be muted until the host lets you in the room. You can follow the hearing live via the City's Board of Revision YouTube channel. When your property is called upon, you will be allowed from the waiting room and permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once you have been heard, you can leave the meeting and continue to watch via the YouTube channel. If any participants are currently watching the live meeting on YouTube, please mute your audio player right now. My name is Marla Billinghurst. I will be chairing the meeting this morning. With me on the panel today are Mr. Robert Buss and Mr. Doug Marks. The secretary this morning is Ms. Michelle Neepin, and the city assessor is Ms. Marina Tanawara. Sorry, I hope I said that correctly.
Yes, good.
Okay, thank you. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at the hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicants may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. And the use of cell phones is not permitted except by the approval of the chair. So please, I ask that you turn your cell phones off at this time. Thank you. The first matter on this morning's docket is 2305 McPhillips Street, Unit 154. Ms. Tanawara, please proceed when you are ready.
Actually, I need to affirm them in first.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I got a bit ahead of myself. Sorry, please.
So we'll start with the assessor. If you can state your full name, please.
Marina Gantika Tenora.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you.
Neil, I'll affirm you before we get started. Can you state your full name? Can you state your full name?
Neil Armstrong.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. File number 20-832. Is it clear?
Sorry?
Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Hearing date January 18th, 2021. An applicant is Ricky's Fashions Inc. Roll year is 2021. Property address 154 2305 McPhillips Street, business name as Ricky's. This business permits area is 2,659. We use $25.33 as a per square foot rate to value this property, find the annual rental value, and applied occupancy cost as in my docket. Heating cost is 6 cents. Electricity rate is $1.26. Water is 25 cents, and air condition is 34 cents. And our total occupancy cost calculated 6,515. Our total annual rental value is 73,860. That's how we calculated the annual rental value on this property. My last table, not the last table, my comparison table shows what are the comparables. All the comparables within the Garden City Shopping Center, 2305 McPhillips Street, every unit located within the Garden City Shopping Center. You can see I have columns and unit numbers and occupancy start dates, because some businesses are there for a long time, some are newer businesses. So leasing start date and leasing end date and the rent per square feet, what we use, what is the net rent they are paying. You can see it's a broad range of rents. Highest I can see it's $47.50. It's a hair salon. They are paying hair. It's a hair salon, and its square footage is little lower than our subject business permits. It is 1,625. They're paying higher rents, and also you can see some all the rents within 25. Some rents are within 25 range. Some are 34, 35 range, and those are my rent comparables. Those are within the range of 1,600 square feet to 3,078 square footage spaces. And this is the range. And those comparables supported what we have using to calculate the annual rental value on Ricky's. And Ricky's we use $25.33. And also I checked the income expenses mailer, how they reported the Ricky's annual rental, how they reported net rent for the Ricky's. I don't see any number how much they are paying, but they reported tenant paying 6% gross sales plus CAM tax. CAM and tax. That's how they pay the rental rates. Then we don't have a net rent, actual rent to support this property. So I'm based on the comparables. I'm asking to confirm the annual rental value as it is. This annual rental value should be 73,860. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Armstrong, do you have any questions for the assessor?
Yes, in assessing value of premises in these shopping centers, did you evaluate how many vacant CRU spaces are in the shopping center as at April 1, 2018?
We do consider that.
And how many vacant spaces were in the shopping center at April 1st, 2018?
I did not calculate the number for the entire shopping mall for this purpose, but the realty assessment, when we do the realty assessment, when we fix the realty assess value, we consider the vacancy space, how much vacant at that time.
Would you say, generally speaking, this shopping center compared to other shopping centers in Winnipeg had a higher vacancy rate than other shopping centers?
It is a tricky question because, before the seafood city and these people moved in, before they moved in, it could have some more vacancy, but after they moved in, it's a very less amount of vacancy. As I remember the reference date before, I'm not 100% sure how much it is, but I can, for generally present situation, it's not that much vacancy, but as a reference date, I did not check how many vacant spaces inside the mall.
As a tenant in the shopping center for a number of years, I would suggest that there's been a high degree of vacancy, particularly in units in the 2,500 to 3,500 square foot range. I note on your listing of comparables, you only have one listing that is in excess of the size of space that Ricky's currently occupies. Is that correct?
I did not get your question. It's because I try to present the range of the range of the units, because it's if you think about talking about the right size range, yeah, the Ricky's is 2,659 square feet. Yes, I do only have one permit higher than that one. It's the Foot Locker. They are paying 36 cents per square feet. Even though there's a bigger size, usually smaller units pay the higher rents, but this one is even the bigger unit. It's pay higher rents than what we are using for Ricky's.
I note that your comparable listing does not include the premises for Warehouse 1, which are largely situated directly opposite the Ricky's store. Why would Warehouse 1 as a tenant not be listed?
There might be two reasons. One is they might not pay the net rent. They might pay the percentage rent. Then I cannot put in the list. They might have the post reference starting date for the lease. It might be the reason. I honestly don't know why I did not include. Maybe the size factor, because I try to find the go up and down a little bit. That's what I try. One of the three reasons I might not include the Warehouse 1. I'm not 100% why I did not, because I did not check Warehouse 1 particularly.
Okay, I can confirm Warehouse 1 is roll number 2089 with a premise area of 3,000 square feet and an estimated base rent of $33,000 or $11 per square foot.
But I don't know about what is the lease start date and lease end date. I don't know. I did not check those information. But I listed in my comparables. Those are the comparables I think much suitable to the Ricky's. That's why I put those ones.
I can confirm Warehouse 1 was a tenant of the mall with a lease.
Mr. Armstrong, sorry. You're welcome to give evidence when it's your turn. This is just a time to ask questions to Ms. Tenawar.
Okay. In assessing value of rental rates for the mall, did you consider traffic counts in the mall?
For the originally, when they do the realty assessment mass appraisal, they all considered that $23.33 counted the traffic count and so many other factors when they do the realty value for the property. But for this one is a business assessment appeal, but I'm checking the rental rates what we use for the Ricky's, and I'm checking the rental rates. Is it enough to support that rental rate? That's all I'm checking. I did not check the traffic count for Ricky's, but before we set up the $25.33, it is all accounted. Traffic count and all the other location factors, size factors, and all the economics factors are considered for the realty.
With all but one of your comparables listed being smaller spaces than the Ricky space, did you consider the Ardennes space, roll number 7582 at 4,787 square feet? Give
me 1 second. Sorry, my computer. Sorry. Can you repeat the question again?
With all of your comparables listed other than the Foot Locker space, did you consider listing our den as a comparable at 4,787 square feet?
Without checking all the other evidence, I cannot see. First important thing to me, when is the lease start? When is the lease end? What is the size? And I need to check all those ones to tell you about, am I going to consider that one or not? Probably without knowing what is the lease start date, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's the crucial point to me to determine what should be in the list.
So are you saying if you can't find out the information, you can't list it in your comparable?
Oh yeah, because we use the database in the city. Every year we ask to send the income expenses mailer. Then we consider those income expenses mailer as a true and confidential good information. If it's not in the income expenses mailer and it's not listed as a information, I cannot do that. Also, the other factors, I don't know, because you are particularly picking the warehouse one. Why I did not include in this list, but if we consider the Garden City Shopping Center, I think it's more than 94 tenants are there. I only picked the tenants in the range of 1,600 and a little bit above than your subject business area, and also what are the rents they pay and what are the leasing starting day. I try to focus on 2017 lease start dates. You can see most of the leases are starting 2017. Those are the most closest dates we can find to the base year of 2018 April. That's my biggest target. Then I include some variation of tenants too. The bigger tenants, smaller tenants, and the salon type tenants, they always pay higher rents. But that's why I'm asking to confirm the $25.33. I'm not asking to increase the rent. I'm not asking any other changes. You can see it's a list with even some tenants pay $25, $24, $25, again $25. Those are the really good evidence. $25 might be reasonable. So it's a range. That's how all my presentation, I always bring the range to support.
Okay, I have no further questions of the assessor's evidence.
Thank you very much. Mr. Buss, do you have any questions for the assessor?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Marks?
No questions for me, thank you.
Nor do I. So, Mr. Armstrong, please proceed with your presentation.
Yes, I would begin by saying that I believe the assessor's evidence submitted is not representative of the entire mall, and particularly of the Ricky space, which occupies 2,659 square feet. A simple count of the comparable properties. 12 of the properties are smaller than the Ricky's property. Only one property is larger than the Ricky's property. As mentioned, as a tenant, I would say this mall has been characterized by a high degree of vacancy, particularly in units similar to size of the Ricky's space. As a fashion retailer, of the comparables presented, Foot Locker would be the most relevant at 3,078 square feet, and they do sell some degree of apparel. I can confirm that directly opposite the Ricky space in the mall is a space occupied by Warehouse One Clothing Limited. It is roll number 2,089 with a premise area of 3,000 square feet. A base ARV per square foot of $11 for an estimated rental value of $33,000. I can confirm that is in line with what Warehouse 1 pays based on its lease, and that lease was in effect as at April 1, 2018. I do not know what rate Ardennes pays on their space, but it is another fashion retailer in the mall. If you look at a site plan that I have provided as part of my submission, the Ardennes space is located down in reasonable close proximity to the Winners space, with Winners being an anchor tenant to the mall at that time, thereby driving significant traffic past the doors of Ardennes, which would be reflected in Ardennes' overall market value for the space. Based on the city's assessment of base rent for the Ardennes space on 4,787 square feet, the city has assessed that rate at $16.50 per square foot. I feel that is a reasonable valuation for that space, as I feel the $11 per square foot is a reasonable estimated rent for the Warehouse 1 space. I would suggest to the board that a reasonable rental rate for the Ricky space is $12 per square foot, given its adjacency to Warehouse 1. And I have no other evidence of any other rental space paid on similar properties, although with many units currently vacant, of which the assessor is not able to report to us on in establishing a rental value. I think $12 a square foot is a reasonable rate for Ricky space in Garden City Shopping Center. I have nothing further.
Thank you very much. Madam Assessor, do you have any questions for Mr. Armstrong?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I do. Mr. Armstrong, I want to know about the Warehouse 1. You might can answer this question. Do you know when is the lease start for Warehouse 1?
I can find that information. Bear with me one moment. Our original offer to lease was dated February 25th, 2014. Possession would have occurred later in 2014.
I did not get the answer. When is the date it started?
Lease occupancy was November 2014.
November 2014?
Yes.
Are they paying, is $11 is the net rent?
Correct.
Are they pay any percentage rents?
No.
No percentage rent at all?
No, we paid minimum rent plus additional rents in form of common taxes.
Okay. Is there any conditions about this print? Because I know that all of the malls has some kind of conditions to occupy the some lower rent tenants. Is there any conditions?
No, that is the net rent that I was paying at that time. The condition was they had a pile of vacancy, and I said, I will pay you this amount of money to take a spot in your mall. And
that means, yeah, that's you offer $11 and they accept that one.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have paid more than that, so I would suggest that is market rent for vacant space.
Okay, yeah, I understand. It's kind of motivated rent, but yeah, I understand that. Okay, you talk about the Ardennes rent. This $16.50 is the net rent or the assessed per square feet?
That is the base ARV per square foot based on a search of the City of Winnipeg's business assessment search site.
Okay, that's the model-driven market rent. It's not the net rent.
No, I would have no idea of what Ardenne's net rent is.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all my questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gus, any questions?
Yes, on the warehouse one rent at $11, you're saying there's extra costs on that? There's, you pay taxes and common area?
Yeah, and I would suggest that is true for most, if not all, commercial leases in the mall. We will pay a minimum rent or a base rent. Additional rents would be in the form of common area maintenance costs that get allocated out to each unit, as well as an allocation of City of Winnipeg property taxes.
Okay, and are you involved with Warehouse One?
I am the president of Warehouse One. I'm a director of Ricky's Fashions Inc.
Okay. And the Arden rent, I'm sorry, of the $16.50, you said you don't know anything about that, or what was the?
No, that was simply searching to try and find comparable properties in Garden City Shopping Center and what other ARVs might be in the shopping center.
Do you know when that lease was started for Arden? Start date of that lease?
No, that would be confidential information between Arden and the landlord and not something I would have access to. If the assessor had it, they choose not to report it on this comparable today.
Thank you. That's all my questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
No questions for me, thank you.
Nor do I. Okay. Is there do either party have a need for summation?
I would do little summation.
Okay.
Overall, these regional type shopping malls has so many different type of net trends reported, and I only use the net trends which is I think about the range of the net trends up and down size of the both side from the subject, and also without knowing any of the most lease information, we cannot rely on any information. So my summation is we have to particularly see all the detail to find out the most comparable trend, what it should be. My comparables here is a range, and I'm in the middle of $25.33 range. So I'm kindly asking to confirm the annual rental value. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
To summarize excuse me, on behalf of Ricky's Fashions, I would say the assessor has acknowledged that they are unaware of a lot of the other rental conditions in the mall. I would say Ricky's is unaware of many other rental conditions in the mall. We are only aware of the conditions that we have reported today, which would support an ARV of $12 per square foot.
Thank you very much. We can move to the next matter on the docket, which is 1555 Regent Avenue West, Unit T12.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Give me one moment to open the file. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Please proceed. Yeah.
Thank you. Applicant is the Cleo's Fashions Inc. Property ID is 54926. Business name as Cleo's. This property within the KP Kildonan Place Shopping Center, we call 1555 Regent Avenue T12. is the permit address. Area is 3,145 and base ARV is 122,057, and we use $38.81 per calculate to annual rental value. Our annual rental value 129,780. Clio actually paying $40 per square feet on that premise. Lease start in 2018 March 22nd. They pay $40 per square feet. You can see all of my rent comparables. I'm very aware about all the tenants in all the malls, but I cannot bring all the tenants' rental rate here. I only can bring the rental rates within the range of business price. So this is the comparables I selected to bring it to compare the rental rates. I put a color chart also, then you can see the mall map and where they are. It's kind of, my colors are not exactly matched with the mall maps, but the yellow represent orange. Then you can see which area the which tenant in. And also all the unit numbers there, and also occupancy start dates. They started in so many different time period. Some tenants were there for a very long time. And Clio also there from 1996, January 1st. I think they are using a very short-term lease. I don't know 100% about. We haven't seen the lease information, detailed lease information. We see, as a city assessment department, we only have an income expenses mailer information we received from the owner. The owner sent us the lease start date and the lease end date, but we don't know all the small details inside the receipt. Inside the leasing agreement. So Clio's is not it seems like a short-term lease, but they are there for a very long time. And they are paying $40 per square feet. You can see my list. Even some tenants pay smaller, $28 per square feet. Some tenants pay $25 per square feet. It is a range. So based on all the information, I'm asking to confirm the annual rental value as it is. It's 129,780. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Armstrong, do you have questions for the assessor?
Yes. Your report, Clio rent is actually paying $40 per square foot. And where did you obtain that information?
Income expenses mailer from the owner reported to us.
And what was the start date of that lease?
That particular lease started March 22nd, 2018, just before the reference date.
When you assess this particular property, I'm referring now to the site plan that I had forwarded to you, or as part of my evidence. Did you consider it?
I did not open that site plan yet.
Did you consider the shape of the Clio space in assessing the market value of that premise?
I'm doing a business assessment hearing here, but today I'm defending the $38.81 as decided and the reality model-driven rental rate. At that model, yes, it does consider the shape and all the relevant information to the mall. I don't know I cannot answer every small detail, but that $38.81 should be considered all the size factors, shape factors, location, and everything. That's what I assume. But I do not do any kind of my own work to find out.
Okay. I don't have further questions on this premise and this property.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Bust, do you have any questions?
Yes, the leases for Hallmark and Ricky's are the two that are closest to the reference date. And they're both in one is 29 and one is 28. But yet you're the subject you have in at $38. Could you explain that to me? Please.
Okay, I will. If I can find the reason. Ricky's. And the other one you tell me about the I think it's a negotiation power. I honestly don't know 100%. The Rickies were there from 1980. They probably have a higher negotiation power with the mall to go with the lower net rents, and they might find I don't know if they have so much negotiation power. They were there for a long time, and they don't want to lose the Rickies kind of better fashion business. Maybe that's my assumption, because we get into that kind of information a lot, but we don't have a solid evidence about the negotiation to prove it. That's totally what I think. Even Mr. Armstrong, earlier presentation, Mr. Armstrong he offered $11 to get into the mall, and mall accepted. We don't know about the condition of the both parties discussed.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Marks?
My question's been answered, thank you.
Okay, I have no questions at this time. So Mr. Armstrong, please go ahead.
Yes, in assessing value of these premises, the first item that I would draw the board's attention to is the shape of the space that Cleo occupies in the center. You will see that they are on a run moving down towards the small food court in the shopping center, and the shape is a distinct L shape. From a merchandising and a retail perspective, valuation is often driven by the amount of frontage that a particular unit has in a shopping center. In this case, there is nearly, I would say, 600 square feet as the part of the L shape situated behind what shows as David's T on this site plan. And that greatly diminishes the overall value from a comparative basis to other properties in the shopping center. The assessor has reported that Cleo pays $40 per square foot. I can confirm to you that Cleo is paying $18 per square foot on a three-year lease in the shopping center. From the list of comparables that I was able to gather from the City of Winnipeg's business assessment search, I was able to locate the following estimated rents per square foot. Maurice's premise area 4,397 square feet, $28.20 per square foot. Ardennes, 4,078 square feet, $28.37. Bath and Body Works, 4,221 square feet, $28.29. Mountain Warehouse, 3,484 square feet, $28.74. Garage, 3,125 square feet, $29 per square foot. And a vacant unit, roll number 6927, premise area 2,281 square feet, $29.77 per square foot. These numbers are generally in line with what the assessor has presented as comparatives. If I focus on the assessor's comparatives that are in a fashion business, the assessor shows garage clothing at $29.59 per square foot, Ricky's at $28 per square foot, Warehouse One, the jean store, at $30 per square foot, Mountain Warehouse at $32 per square foot, Boathouse at $25 per square foot, and Maurice's at $28 per square foot. I believe all those rates and assessments to be reasonable estimates of market value at April 1st, 2018 for the premises indicated. All of the premises referenced, if you locate them on the site plan, I would say are in the main traffic corridor of the mall, which runs, as would appear on this site plan, east-west from what is now a vacant Sears box, down towards the far east end of the shopping center, which is a old Target box that was redeveloped into the retailers you see there that did exist as of April 1, 2018. That being the main run, the bulk of the parking at the shopping center occurs off Regent Avenue, and the heaviest traffic entrances to the mall are feed into that main traffic run. The location of the Clio was taken on a 3-year temporary basis, with part of the worry being that it was in a lower traffic portion of the shopping center, and then also had a significant portion of its premises that were in the L-shaped tucked behind David's Tea, which limited the frontage available from what would otherwise be the case in a unit of that size. Given the lack of traffic, given the actual rate paid of $18 per square foot, my records as submitted show that that lease was signed, it says for 2 years, on September 12th, 2018, very close to the reference date. That is the lease signing date that has been provided to me. I do not have at my fingertips what the detailed actual first possession date and first day of business was in the premises. I have no idea other than what the assessor has reported in terms of where the $40 per square foot came from, but I would suggest that was either a previous tenant in the space or is just an error being reported by the landlord to the city. I would suggest a reasonable rate is $18 per square foot for this premises. I have nothing further to report.
Thank you very much. Madam Assessor, do you have any questions for Mr. Armstrong?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. The first question, all of those listed rent information are the assessed value per square feet. Those are model driven, the rental rates per square feet. Do you aware about that? Those are not net rents. Mr. Armstrong is aware about that when you reported in here?
I'm aware it was the only information I had available to me, and on a cursory review, as I just received the city's evidence, they seem to line up very closely to the rents you have reported in your comparables for those properties.
Yes, when we do the market-driven model, we consider the reported, we database analyze those ones. That's why its numbers come closer. But my list is the reported net rents, and here it's the reported. Those are the assessment per square feet. So my next question, do we aware about September 12, 2018 is the post reference?
September which?
September 12th, 2018.
Yes, that's the lease reference after April 1st, 2018, but in reasonable proximity to April 1st, 2018. I don't feel market value would have changed substantially in those 5 months.
Okay. The next table, you are showing Ricky's paying $38, $29 per square feet. We are using $38.81 to calculate. That's what you kind of suggest. And the Clio is actually paying $18, and we are using $38.81. That's
in my submission.
You understood?
Correct. In my submissions, I have 2 lines on this property. For this hearing we're in right now, I'm not suggesting anything for Ricky's. This is a Clio hearing. I will speak to Ricky's separately, but I am suggesting a reasonable rate of market value for the Clio location as at April 1, 2018 is $18 per square foot.
Okay, no, I just asked because the line is there. That's the only reason I asked about. I thought about you are presenting that also as the evidence. That means you don't have any information about the $40 per square feet Clio lease starting March 22nd, 2018 one?
I can confirm it's incorrect, but I do not know where it came from.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Buss, do you have any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
Just one. You're requesting $18 per square foot. Where do you get that figure from?
I came at it in really 2 different directions. Location in the mall is not as marketable or a high market value as what I consider the main run of the mall to be, based on where traffic patterns flow through this shopping center. So I would have taken a discount off the comparable rates given for that factor. And then I also took a discount for the factor that this unit is L-shaped, and much of the units behind David's Tea becomes almost unusable to an apparel retailer, certainly not of the same value as a typical rectangle shape. And I corresponded that to the rate that Clio actually pays on its lease that was signed in very close proximity to April 1, 2018 as the valuation date.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I have no questions. Is there a need for summary on this matter?
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Armstrong?
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. We can move on to the next matter then, which is 1555 Regent Avenue West, Unit T52.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Give me 1 second to open the file.
Yeah.
Thank you. Applicant is Ricky's Fashion Inc. Property address T52 1555 Regent Avenue West. Business assessment ID 6958. Business name Ricky's. This property has 3,142 square feet as a premise area, and we use $38.81 to calculate the annual rental value and use the regular occupancy cost. And our annual rental value calculated $29,660. Ricky's were reporting net rent of $28 per square feet. Lease start 2017 February 1st for 4 years and 11 months lease agreement. So below are my rent comparables. I use exact same rent comparables because the size wise Ricky's and Clio's are somewhat similar. Then I have same rent comparables. My rent comparables showing within the Kildonan Place Shopping Center, they have range of 20. Here it's $28 to 44 rents. They have different people have different bargaining power. So it's so many different rental rates are there. And also you can see my fourth column, the occupancy start date. So Ricky's also starting 1980 November 1st. So they are paying $28, but this is a step up lease as I assume, because that's a step up started in February 1st, 2017. It's a range of lease changes. It's now they are paying $28. I honestly don't know about what cost to go down or up for the lease information, net rent, because we haven't seen any of the leases. We only have the information or as owner reported what is the net rent. So every shopping mall in general, this is just a general picture. The shopping malls have so many different things. They give us so many different tenants for different size type of bargaining. Even I'm not going to talk this one again. If we consider about St. Vita Shopping Center, they give a locals for the lower rental rates than the other national chains. They have two different type of rental rates. Then we really hard to compare rental rate about why they pay this one, but that's why it's a range of rental rates here. The location and everything I'm asking to confirm $38.81 for Ricky's this premise. So total annual rental value will be $129,660. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Armstrong, do you have questions for the assessment?
No questions on that evidence.
Okay, thank you very much. And please, Mr. Bust, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Marks, do you have any questions?
For me, thank you.
Nor do I. So, Mr. Armstrong, please proceed with your evidence.
Sure. As I note again on this shopping center and focusing on other similar uses within the shopping center, I will review the assessor's submitted evidence for fashion-related retailers located along the main run of the shopping center. The assessor reports garage clothing with a reported per square foot of $29.59. Within my search of the City of Winnipeg assessment site, it has an assessed value of $29 per square foot, so very much in line with the assessor's evidence. Ricky's, in their own evidence, report that Ricky's is paying $28 per square foot. But yet today they are saying the valuation of that space should be $38.81. Warehouse One, the jean store, they report is paying $30 per square foot. I did not submit this in my list of comparables. I believe I have a City of Winnipeg assessed value of either $30 per square or potentially $32 per square foot. I'm not submitting that evidence today. Mountain Warehouse has on the assessor's evidence a rental rate of $32 per square foot. On the City of Winnipeg business assessment search, it comes in at $28.74. Maurice's on the assessor's submitted evidence shows a rental rate of $28 per square foot. On the City of Winnipeg business assessment search, it has a rate of $28.74 per square foot. I would suggest each of the reference properties submitted is reasonable and accurate estimates. I do not understand how then Ricky's has an assessed value of $38.81, when all of the other related properties seem to have valuations in the $28 to $30 range. And I would respectfully submit that a reasonable suggested rate for the Ricky's property at Kildonan Place Shopping Center is $29 per square foot.
Thank you very much. Madam Assessor, do you have questions?
I do, Madam Chair, but this is a repetitive question. But I just asked this question to follow. The first, I want to know about Mr. Armstrong aware about the first set of information is model-driven market rent based on our model. Do you aware about that?
I'm aware it's market modeled. I'm aware it's model driven, and in this case, I would say the model is kicking out an inaccurate and not a very good estimate based on actuals.
But do you know about the model has so many other things to consider? Because for the model, because not just for the fashion industry.
I'm sure it takes in multiple factors. I'm just saying I don't believe in the output of the model, and that sure, if there was a whole bunch of non-fashion related uses that want to come in and pay $45 per square foot, I'm sure the landlord would lease those spaces to them for $45 per square foot. This landlord is looking for a number of fashion uses, and the value of that space for a fashion use is not $38.81. If the landlord could get that rate from somebody else, I'm sure they would have, and Ricky's wouldn't be there.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Buss?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Marks?
No questions for me, thank you.
Nor do I. Okay, thank you. So we can move on to the next matter. I'm going to suggest we take a short recess before we move on to the next matter. So how about
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
5 minutes or so? Is that good for everybody?
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting back to order. The next matter on the docket is number 1225 St. Mary's Road, Unit 0066. Madam Assessor, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I ask you a suggestion? Because this is next 4 appeals are same property. It's all within the St. Vital Mall, and most are the information are very common to Cleo's, Ricky's, and Warehouse One. Is it okay we can do the lump together kind of presentation, or do you want me to present the general information?
If it's okay with Mr. Armstrong,
As long as we're free to speak to individual premises, I'm comfortable doing all 4 at once.
Absolutely. Mr. Buss, Mr. Marks, is that okay with both of you?
Fine with me.
Yes.
Okay, sure. We can hear the general information then. It's going to be the same.
Okay, thank you. I will present the general information as a common information. Then we'll go with the one property, one business by one business.
Sure,
Thank
so
you, Madam Chair.
We'll present the general information first, and then we'll do each unit separately. For both sides.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is these 4 appeals within the St. Vital Mall. All of the units are inline CRUs. Used for Ricky's Fashion, Warehouse One, Bootlegger, and Cleo's. Most are the national. All of them are national chains, and they have a very high bargaining power. And also, sorry, give me 1 second, please. Okay, thank you. So I'm using the exact same rent comparables for all of those ones. Businesses. because most of them are within the same range. It's between 3,000 to go to 4,000. So my rent comparables, you can see my rent comparables. It's a big list. Those are the rent comparables I found related to those Clio's, Ricky's, and Warehouse One and Bootlegger. So this is the range. You can see some, even I put the combination of rents because a jet gear type, local, and fashion hair salon, the unisex hair salon paying $75 per square feet. Those are the example only. The kind of the areas. Pearl Vision is $45 per square feet. It's a glass store, and we have La Chateau, Dynamites, R&W, and Carter Oshkosh is paying considerably lower amount rents than the other ones. It could be the size factor, and it's a smaller. It's a child clothing. It might give a favoration for the child clothing store because it's only children's place is there. No any other one other than the children's place before the Carter Oshkosh move into the St. Vital Mall. Then they might have a higher bargaining power. And also, my knowledge, St. Vital Mall giving some consideration for the locals to give a lower rental rates, lower net rents to pay to be in the St. Vital Mall to encourage the local businesses. Most of my comparables are national chains, and rental range vary from $75 to $33 per square feet, which is Oshkosh, the lowest rent. And you can see the most of the tenants were there for a long time. Some started in 1998. Ricky started in 1998. Clio was there from 2013. These all the information from the income expenses mailer from as reported by the owner. Then Bootlegger was there from 1998. Rental rates are in St. Vital inline units. Rental rate usually within $50 per square feet. That's my general view. And also I put a map and it with the coding with alphabetical coding. It is following jet gear is in area B, and you can see where the jet gear is. It's in the area B section. Those are the common information. You can see where they are, and those are most of the leases are net step-up leases. I have a column to show it's a step-up lease or not. Those are the common information. Now I am moving to particularly Ricky's. Ricky's is
Ms.
in
Kanawara.
business.
Sorry. Mr. Armstrong, sir, can you hold on 1 second? Mr. Armstrong, you keep disappearing. Are you having...
I had to plug in my cell phone because it was running on low power. So now I've got it on handheld version. So I might move around a little bit.
Okay, but you can still hear what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I can wait if we need some time.
No, we're good.
Okay, everything's good.
Okay, thank you. So now I'm particularly moving to Ricky's.
Okay.
Business assessment ID 6339. Business name Ricky's. Permis ID 8239. Permis area 3,031 square feet. We use $48.63, which is model-driven market rent. St. Vital Mall, we did not use the actual rents mostly. We use the model-driven market rent to calculate realty assessment. Then some negotiations happen within the realty time that for the some rents, but all these three are used. We have market model-driven market rents. I check all of the CRUs in the model-driven market rents. $48.63 is a model-driven market rent. And our total annual rental value is $154,800. Ricky is actually paying $57 per square feet. Starting February 1st, 2017, is the 4-year and 11-month lease. But because we are using the model-driven market rents, we don't go chase by for the $57 per square feet. We use $48.63, considering market-driven rent is fair for this unit. I'm asking to confirm the annual rental value as it is for Ricky's. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Armstrong, do you have questions?
Yes. In looking at this property on a market value as at April 1, 2018, can you tell me in general terms how much those market values had changed since your assessment on April 1, 2016?
April 1, 2016?
2016.
Oh no, I did not check those kind of information because this is a 2021 appeal. I did not compare any of the assessment, how we run the 2018 value and 2016 value. I did not check those information. Sorry, I cannot answer that question.
Would you expect that the April 1, 2018 market values were greater than what was used for April 1, 2016?
Greater than 2016? Yes, of course. Property value, overall property value increased from 2016 to 2018.
What market conditions in Winnipeg did you consider when assessing values to individual units in St. Patel Shopping Centre?
You particularly asked about the realty assessment overall value or just the business assessment for the Ricky's and the inline CRU value?
No, I'm asking market value conditions in the city of Winnipeg for shopping center leasing as at April 1, 2018. What market conditions did you take into account?
All of the market conditions take into account when they run the model.
Which just automatically goes up from 2016 because that's what values do?
No. I'm not a modeler, but we input all the data we get from all the sources, particularly income expenses mailer, into the data model, and they do all of those modeling and all of those analysis part, and they consider sales mailer sales and everything to determine what should be the proper market rent for these CRUs. That's how we get the number. But because it's the business assessment hearing and business assessment presentation, I did not go and check all the information for especially we did not compare to 2016 value to 2018 value. It's a 2 different base year, it's a 2 different factors, 2 different model. I honestly cannot compare 2 assessment models here.
Okay. In your listing of comparatives, the second most recent comparative listed would be August 4th, 2015, Reitmans. Is that correct?
The second business is Sumis, you are mean?
In all your comparables, I want to look at the most recent comparables that you've listed. The second most recent would be Reitmans, is that correct?
Give me 1 second. I did not do that kind of June. Reitman is June, but we can see the Garage Clothing Company in August. 2017. It's $55 per square feet.
I'm looking at occupancy start date.
Oh, but it's the occupancy start date. But I'm focusing on the lease start date.
Okay, but my question was, what is the second most recent occupancy start date?
Okay, give me 1 second, please. 2015, August 4th. It's the Reitman start, occupancy start date for the Reitmans. But their lease start in 2017. That's a step up lease. In the next column I put it's a step up lease. They signed the lease in 2017, June 1st to August 31st, August 31st, 2022 for $55 per square feet.
At this occupancy start date for Reitmans, was this a relocation within the mall or was this a net new addition to the mall? Because my understanding would be this was Reitmans relocating into a closed Smart Set location and Smart Set being owned by the Reitmans group, so that it is actually one less overall retailer in the mall as a result of the Reitmans relocation at that time.
But that's the business decision. It's not. It's because Smart Set closed and Reitman moves to the Smart Set location. It's a totally business decision. But it's both are the market rents. They pay $55. Starting June 1st, 2017, they are paying $55 per square feet.
I asked the question because I don't think Reitmans is a new tenant to the mall at August 4th, 2015. I think they've been in the mall a lot longer than that. The data presented this way suggests they were new to the mall. I don't believe they were new to the mall at that time.
I agree with you.
The newest
they were there for a long time.
The newest tenant to the mall in the entire listing you have here would be June 1, 2017, Carter's Oshkosh. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that came in at a rental rate of $33 per square foot.
Yes, as I explained before, because they might have they are in the very odd shape unit, and also they might have a bigger bargaining power because before they move in, only the children's place is the only kids clothing specialty store in the mall. That might be they get the lower rents. I really don't know. That could be the reason. That could not be the reason. But as I mentioned before, I wanted to show all the information here to match with the size factor, date, closest lease start date and everything. That's why I put it there. Yes, of course, they pay $33 per square feet.
And can you describe the shape of the Carter space? You said that might be a factor in why they paid a lower net rent.
Yeah, you go to my map in Carter Oshkosh in K. As I remember, they are in the very, very narrow and long unit in the K section.
Just a question of procedure. I'm looking at the site plan I submitted and I wouldn't describe the location that way. Should we come back to this when we get to my evidence?
That's fine.
Okay. Would you consider the opening of the Winnipeg Outlet collection on May 3rd, 2017 to have impacted market values at St. Vital Center?
It could be, but lease information I'm using, it's the start date, it's 27 on the reference date, before the reference date. That lease information does not reflect any of those ones. It could be.
Would the addition of a brand new 400,000 square foot shopping center in the city not be something that should be taken into account in determining market value for another shopping center that is located 11 kilometers away?
But I don't understand about the question correctly, because we run the model before that and we consider all of those factors. But I think $48.63 is the model driven market rent. I'm not asking to increase to $57 or anything. I'm asking to confirm the $48.63 model driven market rent. I assume every factor considered to calculate that $48.63.
Okay, I don't have further questions. I think most of my comments will come in the presentation of my evidence.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Buss?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Marks?
No questions for me, thank you.
Nor do I. So, Mr. Armstrong, please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, I'm just going to pause for a moment here and unplug my phone and try and get it propped back up so you can see me again. Just a moment. That's better. I'm now hands-free again. I think of all these properties we've discussed this morning, I'm very much on St. Vital Center, taking a very pure, what is market value at April 1, 2018, regardless of when a tenant may have started, regardless of where they may be at in a lease term. I would argue St. Vital Center has seen a major deterioration in the overall value of the shopping center from the time that any of these retailers signed their leases. I think it is very telling that the city reports the only truly new tenant to this mall listed in their comparables is Carter Oshkosh, dated June 1, 2017, at a rate of $33. That rate is far and below the majority of the other comparables they have listed, not because they had different bargaining power or a different shape. If I reference you to the St. Vital site plan that I submitted, Carter's Oshkosh would be, if you go to what is essentially center court and move down the main quarter, they are the first or second unit in. They've got great frontage and they actually narrow in the back, which to me would suggest the value should actually go up. Retailers like a lot of frontage, and narrowing in the back is a good thing for retailers. So shape is not a factor in their overall lower than assessed value and what their net rent is presented as. Back, the outlet collection does include stores that had relocated from St. Vital Shopping Center as of April 1st, and likely includes a number of others that were stuck in leases at St. Vital Center that were waiting to make the move to the Winnipeg outlet collection. The CRU space at St. Vital Center I've shown is only 277,000 square feet, which really reflects the interior parts of the mall. The outlet collection off of Route 90 contains a number of unique to Winnipeg retail establishments. Under Armour factory store, Nike store, DSW is the first DSW in Winnipeg. Has that April 1, 2018, a Forever 21 Red in their outlet location. Has a Polo location, a Saks off 5th location, and a number of other premises in that mall that are unique to Winnipeg and strong traffic drivers for the center. St. Vital Centre has limited, if any, unique to market retailers in St. Vital Centre at April 1, 2018, and it has cost the center substantially in terms of its ability to achieve historical market rents. I would not argue that the market rent at April 1, 2016 may have been $48.63. I would argue there had been substantial changes in the market value of this property by April 1, 2018. In looking for comparative properties in the Winnipeg market in terms of size, tenant mix, Kildonan Place Shopping Centre, in my mind, is now the most comparable to St. Vital Centre as at April 1, 2018. Both centers at that time were dealing with a closed anchor location in Sears, which in both locations closed in January 2018, 3 months prior to the valuation date. To their credit, Kildonan Place had redeveloped a previously vacated anchor tenant at the east end of their center. Kildonan Place would have seen lower vacancy and lower tenant migration as at April 1, 2018. They would have also been somewhat impacted by the outlet center, but given they are 30 minutes away and not 15 minutes away, they have not felt as big an impact from the outlet center. I can share that sales results for 3 of the 4 locations we're about to discuss rates for that were operating in St. Vital Centre for the full year. Ricky's, Cleo, and Bootlegger were down an average of 12%, with the worst being down 15% and the best being down 8%. In my review of the assessed values at the Winnipeg Outlet Collection based on the City of Winnipeg site for similar size CRUs, estimated rental rates there are $35. I have no understanding. I've never tried to negotiate a deal in that center. I don't know if that number is high or low, but that is what the city model is reporting. So it is $13 below what the city is assessing St. Vital Centre property at. In speaking with a leasing manager for the outlet collection to understand their additional costs, being common area maintenance, operating costs, as well as City of Winnipeg property taxes, they estimate to me those costs are $31 per square foot. At St. Vital Centre, that cost has been closer to $40 per square foot. Again, that makes St. Vital Centre and the additional costs a tenant would face in terms of operating costs and property taxes that much less desirable to lease space in, thereby driving down their ability to get their historical rental rates that they used to get. Sorry. I'm back down to 10%, so I'm going back to handheld mode here. Bear with me. Looking at my known leasing activity near the valuation date, Bootlegger. So Bootlegger, just in advance of the valuation date, had done about $1 million in sales out of their units, and at a rate of nearly $50 per square foot, plus operating costs and taxes, there was absolutely no way Bootlegger could be profitable at that level. Their gross rents, if they're running in the neighborhood of $90 per square foot on 4,358 square feet, would put their gross rents at $392,000, or almost 39% of sales. As at, if Bootlegger had a choice, as at April 1, 2018, as to renew at a market rate, they absolutely would not have renewed at a market rate of near $50. Conditions had changed drastically in this center from what it was historically. In fact, as referenced on here, Bootlegger's lease was coming up for renewal. You see Bootlegger near the bottom of the list of comparables at January 31st, 2019. Although that date is some 10 months from the valuation date, the deterioration in market value had taken place well in advance of that. I can share that Bootlegger renewed at a rate for 3 years that is even far lower than what I have suggested market rental rate is at that time. Warehouse One had operated across the street from St. Patel's Center in Dakota Square, I think is the name of the center. Warehouse One had operated in that space since 1994. I myself have personally been in charge of the most recent renewals on that facility. I would have contacted St. Patel's Center in 2009, and again after a 5-year renewal in 2014. And at that time, I determined it wasn't in Warehouse One's best interest to consider a move into the mall because the mall was characterized by very high rental rates at that time. On March 5th, 2019, again, it's 11 months from the valuation date, but as close as any other comparable that the city has listed in terms of its new tenants. Warehouse One did sign an agreement to lease to vacate its space across the street and move into St. Patel's Center. That agreement was written for a 5-year term at $18.50 per square foot.
All right, Mr. Armstrong.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm just going to stop you. Perhaps we should finish with Ricky's first and questions, and then go on to one separate with the questions.
Okay, I'm not at this point presenting my suggested values. I'm just presenting evidence of market value in the shopping center.
Oh, sorry. Is this still related to your presentation for Ricky's?
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm really just trying to establish that this shopping center had a dramatic change in market values that were in place as of April 1st, 2018.
Okay, sorry about
The space that Warehouse One was able to negotiate a lease on was previously occupied at that time by West 49, who did take space in the outlet collection. It was not a vacant space that Warehouse One was interested in. It was a space that had another tenant. And even though Warehouse One was only prepared to pay $18.50, it was enough for the landlord to accept Warehouse One in that space, as opposed to keeping an existing retailer in the space. If that retailer was paying in the neighborhood of $48 per square foot and had a lease term, I'm sure the landlord would have loved to have kept that retailer paying $48 per square foot. The reality was they could not attract new retail into that center at the rates the city's model is suggesting are fair market value. Again, I've listed in my evidence submission that Kildonan Place is the most comparable property to St. Patel's Center. They are two properties that have a strong fashion use, numerous national tenants, but both lack any true unique tenants to that property. Those tenants tend to reside today, or at April 1, 2018, those tenants reside at Polo Park Shopping Center, for which I have not requested any changes to our valuations of our 3 stores in that center, or they reside at the Winnipeg Outlet Collection. In looking at assessed values for Kildonan Place, we see the city model has generally assessed them in rates ranging from $28 to $30 for similar size ranges that each of the 4 properties we're discussing occupy at St. Vital Center. Going now specifically to Ricky's. Sorry, let's just move up for a moment. Other assessments I was able to find in St. Vital Center for uses in the center. Identified Sport Check has an assessed rate of $17 per square foot. Granted, it is a different unit size at 15,000 square feet. I think that is a reasonable assessment of value for that location. On the image that I have provided of a satellite image of St. Vital Center, in absence of detailed traffic counts that are not available to me, I would suggest the Sport Check location located in close proximity to Walmart is one of the most heavily trafficked locations in the mall, thereby allowing that retailer to derive significant benefits from its position in the mall as a high traffic area. In looking at other assessments within the mall, Northern Reflections, a modeled rate of $36.90, Sunrise Records, a modeled rate of $35.97, and Ardent, a modeled rate of $40. I simply report those as my findings based on the Winnipeg Business Search assessment site. I would not agree that those estimated values are accurate market values at April 1, 2018. I believe all of those valuations remain high. It is possible St. Vital Center at a point in time may be able to return to historical levels of rental values. As at April 1, 2018, they are not at that rate. It is not historical St. Vital Center. It is really now just another mall in the city. It would have historically highly been regarded as the second best mall in the city. Now many would regard it as perhaps tied for third with Kildonan Place, or even fourth on its own beyond Kildonan Place, given what a strong retail node Kildonan Place operates in. In my suggested assessment for Ricky's, I give credence to the fact it is in a reasonably good traffic location in the mall, located relatively near to Center Court. I am suggesting a market value rate as at April 1 of $25. In forming that opinion, I've looked at the $17 assessed rate for Sport Check that I consider to be reasonable given its high traffic location. And I also look at leasing activity within reasonable proximity to the valuation date of April 1, 2018, being Warehouse 1 paying $18.50 per square foot for a brand new lease in the shopping center, and Bootlegger as an existing tenant, in order to make them stay there, are paying $10 per square foot on a renewal 10 months after the valuation date. I don't see anything in the city's list that says what retailers might have renegotiated a rate to. I would say that many retailers and leasing people in particular get too comfortable in saying, hey, I was paying this before, so now I will pay the same or $1 or $2 more. St. Vital Center, there was a real opportunity for retailers to renegotiate rates at April 1, 2018, should their leases have expired at that date, because St. Patel is a vastly different shopping center than it was April 1, 2016, or whenever they had signed their leasing dates. Can I move on to the other properties now? I'm finished on Ricky's.
Perhaps we should do questions about Ricky's first.
Okay.
Ms. Tenoir, do you have any questions about Ricky's?
Yes, Madam Chair. And also, I want to make a statement. I don't want to disturb the presentation, but I wanted to be mindful about the comparing assessment is not allowed at the business assessment or any of the Board of Revision level, or the post reference is not allowed to discuss. And most of the information I heard so far is either comparing assessment or the post reference. But I wanted to reiterate, it's not allowed to do that at the Board of Revision level. And can I ask some little bit of questions? All of my questions related to those things.
Ask your questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Armstrong, all the listed display here, Kildonan Place, and the assessment in the same center, you mean the St. Vital Shopping Center. Do you consider those are assessment values, assessment per square feet?
Do I consider them?
Yes. Do you consider those are model-driven market rents, not the net rents?
I disagree with all the modeled rents presented as of April 1, 2018, because I feel they are model-driven rents, and the model was broken and the model didn't take into account market conditions in the city of Winnipeg.
That's your opinion, but that's not the question I asked. Do you aware those rent per square feet numbers are model-driven market rents?
I understand that.
Okay, and the sports check location is 15,016 square feet. It's approximately 5 times bigger than your unit. Do you agree to that?
I understand the sport check premise area is 15,000 square feet with an estimated rent of $255,000. I understand the 4 premises I appealed on also total 15,000 square feet, but have a assessed value of $718,000, $460,000 higher than sport check.
I mean the size-wise, I don't compare anything about the rent value. I'm just asking the premise size is 3,031 square feet for Ricky's, but sports check is 15,016 square feet.
Correct.
Is it 5 times bigger than the subject? Do you agree?
I agree.
Thank you. And all the information you provided, bottom, non-leasing activity near valuation date, those near valuation date facing praise means that you use the post-reference information here. Do you agree?
I use post-reference information to support what a market rate may have been at April 1st, 2018.
Okay. That's all my questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buss.
When did the outlet mall open?
The outlet mall opened, it is in my submission, their grand opening was May 3rd, 2017.
2017, did you say?
Yes, and they were not full at that time. They were still attracting more tenants.
That's all my questions. Thank you.
Mr. Marks?
No questions for me, thank you.
Nor do I. Okay. Now you may move on to the next one, 1225 St. Mary's Road, Unit 120, which is Warehouse 1.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Warehouse 1 has a particular matter to speak a little bit. Can I move to Cleos? Keep the Warehouse 1 as the last one to discuss.
Okay, then how about we go to Unit 71, which is Bootlegger?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Try to keep it in as much order as possible.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. No worries. Thank you.
Okay, so that's Unit 71 then. Okay. So we're going, yeah. So 1225 St. Mary's Road, Unit 71.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Property address 1225 St. Mary's Road, Unit 71. Business assessment ID 6344. Business name Bootlegger. My Bootlegger has occupied in 4,358 square feet, and we assess using $47.19 per square feet. Bootlegger paying net rent of $50 per square feet. Lease start in 2014 February 1, which is 4-year lease. And my comparables are exact same comparables. I'm not going to discuss more about the comparables, which is the range. It shows the range. It shows the $40, $33, $75 is the range of the net rents. Everything within the St. Vital Mall, because we have enough information to defend any of the inline CRU within the St. Vital Mall. I'm not using any of the other mall information here. It's all within the St. Vital Mall. The rents are within the range, and Bootlegger rents fit to the range of the comparables, and $47.19 within the range, and with it is very close to the actual net rent of $50. So I'm asking to confirm the annual rental value as it is $216,360. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Armstrong, do you have questions?
Yes, the location of the Bootlegger premises in St. Vital Center compared to the Carter's Oshkosh location, which lease was dated June 1, 2017. Can you confirm relative location of each premises, please?
They both locate in the K, Bootlegger in the K area, and the Carter Oshkosh also in the K area. That's all I confirm because I did not bring any detailed plan where they are. They're both in the K area.
Okay, just to confirm with the chair, we are each providing evidence for Bootlegger currently. I will have a subsequent chance for Bootlegger.
Yes, so this is just questions for Bootlegger, and then as soon as we finish asking the assessor about questions for Bootlegger, you can do your presentation on Bootlegger.
Okay.
So in a couple minutes.
My previously general questions would have remained from the Ricky's presentation, so
Absolutely.
I have no further questions on Bootlegger.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Buss.
No questions.
Mr. Marks?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, nor do I. So Mr. Armstrong, you can present your Bootlegger information.
I would argue the only relevant information presented on Bootlegger for comparable properties is the lease with reference dates of June 1, 2017. There is no more current information provided than that. That date would have been just at the start of the Winnipeg Outlet Collection opening. I believe market values continued to deteriorate in St. Vital Center up to April 1, 2018, but with a stated net rent rate of $33 at June 1, 2017, I believe is evidence of significant erosion in the market value of St. Patel Center at April 1, 2018. Given the information of a nearby premises located only 2 units over from Bootlegger, given the understanding that if Bootlegger's lease would have expired on March 31st, 2018, and it had the opportunity to write a new rental value at April 1, 2018, it would have written said deal for $10 a square foot, not at $50 a square foot. The landlord in St. Patel Center had significant migration of tenants, significant vacancy, and the threat of much stronger vacancy to come in the future. All these factors depressed the market value of St. Patel Center, and I would submit a reasonable valuation for Bootlegger as of April 1, 2018 is $21.50 per square foot.
Thank you very much. Ms. Tenwara, do you have questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I do. Mr. Armstrong, that's the $21.50 per square feet. That's your proposal of the rental rate for the Bootlegger, without any supporting market net rent comparables. Is that right?
That's what my model would show. Correct.
Okay. Okay. That's all my question, Madam Chair, related to Bootlegger.
Thank you. Mr. Bust?
Yes, did you say that Bootlegger signed the lease for $33 a square foot?
No, Bootlegger, subsequent to the reference date, there on the city's information, you'll see their lease was expiring January 31st, 2019. At the rental rate they were paying, and Bootlegger submits sales to the landlord regularly, the landlord would have been fully aware Bootlegger was losing money. The landlord was unable to lease the space to anybody else, so Bootlegger would end up subsequently renewing the space at $10 per square foot.
That's all my questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Marks.
No questions from me, thank you.
Nor do I. So give me 1 minute, please. Just making a note. Okay, thank you. Okay, the next matter then we will move on to will be 1225 St. Mary's Road, Unit 2, which is Cleo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Business address number Unit 2, 1225 St. Mary's Road, business assessment ID 6338, business name Cleo. That unit has 3,153 square feet. We use $48.48 per square feet, which is model driven, to calculate annual rental value of $160,560. Cleo is paying $35 per square feet, which is 2013 August 1st lease start date, and it is a 5-year and 6 months lease. So my comparables are exact same comparables. It shows the range of comparables. The Cleo also national chain, and Ricky is also national chain, and all of those, Reitman is national chain. They all pay $57, $58 those rent, but we use the model driven of $48.46 per square feet range. So based on this information, I'm asking to confirm the value as it is. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Armstrong, do you have questions?
In your modeled rate of $48, can you confirm what your modeled rate was for Clio per square foot?
Pardon me, sorry, I did not hear the question.
Can you confirm the base ARV per square foot for Clio?
Clio $48.48.
In that model, did you consider the location of Clio in the shopping center?
I assume the time they do the model-driven market rent, it does. But this is model-driven market rent we use for realty assessment. I'm discussing about that value rental rate only. This is not my suggestion. That's the rate. In all the St. Vital Center inline CRUs, we use around 48 to 50 per square feet range of value per square feet.
Do you think the model represents a fair assessment for individual premises in St. Vital Center, recognizing different locations have vastly different traffic patterns?
Traffic pattern, it could be, I don't know, because I cannot tell exactly what they consider, but only information I can tell you, because we have different kind of models run, and we cannot compare to this kind of inline CRU to any of the Walmart type retail warehouse rents or the restaurant rent. This is only the inline CRU, because we have other rental units, also food court rents, kiosk rent, all the other things. Yes, it does. It does some degree. I cannot go to that model detail because I did not involve with that model. But I assume they do the all the data analysis part when they do the model.
There seem to be a lot of assumptions and uncertainties in terms of how this model is built. In your listing of comparables, you showed Clio at $35 per square foot, which is substantially below the majority of the other comparables you list. Why do you feel there is that big a gap for Clio on a net rent basis?
But the problem, I think one thing we need to understand, St. Vital Mall has so many other tenants. We enter all the data, but the Clio is paying lower end of rents. There are many other reasons. And I know some other tenants also lower rents, but you can see the list. You can see most of they are paying somewhat above $40. For the common rate, I'm seeing 47, 49, 55, 40, 42, 55, 50, 55. But you are kind of choosing two low end rents. That's why I actually purposely include that two lower rents too, because I need to talk. St. Vital Mall has so many other things too. We cannot compare any of them thing to Walmart rent or Shoppers Drug Mart rent. They don't have, not Shoppers Drug Mart, Sports Check rent. It's so many other aspects involved with those rent and also local rents. Yes, it does. It show $35, but model is not picking exact $35 in putting in the Clios. There are so many other factors considered, so many other data involved, so many other things there. So that's why it's different.
Forgetting your chair, are we on Neil's evidence or the assessor's evidence and Neil's questions?
The assessor's evidence, Neil's questions.
Okay. Can you identify where in the mall Clio is situated?
Clio is in section C. Section C is very close to the entrance to Center Court. Somewhere in here. I cannot tell exact where. I think it's...
Okay, I'll present it in my evidence. That's fine.
Okay.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Buss?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marks.
No questions from me, thank you.
I have no questions either. So Mr. Armstrong, you're up.
Clio location in St. Patel Center is located as the first CR unit outside of Hudson's Bay. From a visual representation shown by Google satellite image, albeit I don't know what date the satellite image was taken. You can see that the bay location as the anchor and really the southwest corner of the picture. And you tend to see very few cars associated outside of that image compared to other parts of the shopping center. Looking at the site plan submitted for St. Patel Center, you do see Clio as that first unit. I would argue traffic patterns outside of Clio's storefront in this mall are substantially lower than the majority of other CRU tenants in this center. And that is why in the city's presentation of net rents per square foot, that is why Clio shows substantially lower than the majority of other tenants in the mall. Otherwise, in presenting a estimated rate as a reasonable market value per square foot for Clio, recognizing their generally low traffic location in the mall, I would submit a reasonable estimated rate is $18 per square foot. I have nothing further.
Thank you very much. Ms. Tanwara, do you have any
Thank
questions?
you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Armstrong, do you ever read the Clio's lease deed in detail? Do you ever had a chance to read the Clio lease information, lease agreement?
I have not read the lease in detail. It was dated quite in advance of April 1, 2018.
Okay. No, I'm not concerned about the date. I concern about any other small print detail in the lease information showing about why they go with the lower rental rates of $35 per square feet.
I haven't seen the agreement, but as a retailer, given my knowledge of leasing across the country, it would be my opinion that the rate is much lower at Clio because of its generally poor location in the shopping center.
That's all my question, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buss.
Yes, do any of the that you sign have percentage rents in them?
Certain deals would have percentage rents over a normalized base rent. An example of that, Warehouse 1 would, at paying $18.50 per square foot, would pay percentage rent above a natural breakpoint of 6%. So if I just do the math here, 1850 times 2813 divided by 26. Warehouse 1 would only begin paying percentage rent after it had done $867,000 in sales. I can't speak in detail on Ricky's bootlegger or Clio leases that I haven't seen in detail.
Would you say it's common to have percentage rents in leases like a mall in St. Patel?
It would be common, typically in the neighborhood of 6% over a natural breakpoint at a rate of $48 as suggested by the city on units that are 3,000 square feet. That breakpoint would be $2.4 million in sales. And I can affirm that none of our operating companies in that center do $2.4 million in annual sales. So although the percentage rent is in there, it is not being paid because we are not at that sales threshold.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Marks?
No questions for me, thank you.
All right. Now we will move on to the, last one, which is 1225 St. Mary's Road, Unit 120, which is the Warehouse 1.
Give me a please, madam. I have to find the.
Sure, no problem.
Sure. Okay, I found it. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is business ID is 5770. Owner is Warehouse 1 Clothing Limited. Property premise area, we have 4,513 square feet, which is incorrect. Today, I make a recommendation to reduce the premise area to 2,813, which is reported by Senator Mall and also presented at the somewhat similar but in the permit screen. I put the both information here. Those are in my page number 3. I go with Senator Mall reported per square foot area, which is 2,813. Use the exact model driven rent, even though it should be a little bit higher than what 47 cents when it comes to model driven, but I use the exact same rent as $47.06. My recommendation to reduce annual rental value to $139,260 as in the picture. That's my recommendation, both only based on the reduction of area. That's something we kind of missed beginning. And also I actually sent the recommendation. We had the discussion with Mr. Armstrong about what should we do at this hearing, but he would prefer to proceed the hearing. That's why we are presenting here. My recommendation to reduce annual rental value to 139,260 annual rental value for this property. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Armstrong, are you willing to accept this recommendation, or would you like to proceed with the hearing?
I would like to proceed with the hearing on a valuation basis, but I can't affirm the size of the premise area, if that helps.
Okay, so...
but also I want to add a little bit here. Because of this is the omission and error, we have we can issue a supplemental assessment correcting the error based on January 1st, 2020 for the 1 year backdated because it's the omission and error. Under that, we can do that. I actually recommend to Mr. Armstrong, we can do that way. Then I can issue a supplemental assessment. He can go with the hearing if they not like the rental rate. But I want to confirm, because if we go with that hearing, this value change only effect for 2021. It's not going to be the 2020 value reduction because it's a 2021 appeal.
Right. Mr. Armstrong, do you understand? Have you discussed this with Mr. Armstrong at all previously? About
Yes, we did discuss it. Even appeal manager and my manager and Mr. Armstrong.
And you discussed about issuing for the 2020.
Yeah, because we have ability to issue a supplemental. This is the omission and error.
Okay,
we can correct the omission.
Okay, Mr. Armstrong, you don't want them to. Sorry.
I understand today. Today I'm prepared to argue the valuation of the unit on a per square foot basis. I understand this valuation only relates to 2021. The valuation change cannot apply to 2020. I understand that we can subsequently fix the correction of the error, which is the size of the space is wrong.
Okay, so Tanwara, yes, please proceed.
Okay, but I want to add one thing because it everything of the hearing today we discussed today for this hearing, but the final per square foot rate, we don't know what it will be after this hearing. It might be, we might not agree to the Board of Revision decision. We might, but it doesn't. I want to know, Ms. Armstrong, have an understanding about. I'm not going to. I don't have. There are no assurance I'm going to use the exact same rent today rent when we issue the supplemental for 2020. It's totally based.
Understood.
Understood. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Please
Okay.
proceed.
My presentation is over. My recommendation is to reduce the annual rental value to 139,260.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Armstrong, you have questions?
No questions.
Okay, Mr. Best?
What was the square footage that you corrected it to? The square
Can you?
footage?
Okay. Originally, we used 4,513, which is in the page number 1. Now we are using 2,813 because when warehouse took over the space from the previous tenant, they did not take over the entire unit. They used the half of the unit. It actually previous unit divided to 2 units. 1 unit take over by the warehouse one. But somehow we did miss that thing when we do the business assessment. That's the error I'm correcting today.
That's good. Thank you. That's all my questions.
Okay, Mr. Marks?
Nothing from me, thank you.
And I have no questions either. So, Mr. Armstrong, you can proceed with your presentation.
Yes, certainly the numbers that are most known to me and in my day job as president of Warehouse 1, having operated, as I said, across the street from St. Patel Center since 1994, was always a center we looked upon as a good, strong, high traffic center where we always felt we would have the ability to do more revenue in that center. We never moved across the street because the market value of that center was always such that what I would have to pay in additional rent would actually make me less profitable if I had located my store in that center. That changed in recent years. I did sign a lease, an agreement to lease to move into St. Patel Center, and I signed that in March of 2019. The only reason I didn't sign it sooner is I still had a lease committed across the street on Dakota Avenue. I never would have signed a lease in St. Patel Center at a rental rate approximating $47 per square foot. I would have been far better off to stay where I was and continue operating my business across the street. Given the sharp change in market values, I was able to strike a deal within a reasonable window of the valuation date to move into St. Patel Center. My submission is entirely focused on asking the board to assess a market value as at April 1, 2018, regardless of what any retailer might have signed in 2016, 2015, 2010, 2012. Our goal, I believe today, is to come up with a rate as of April 1, 2018. The city has referenced numerous times in terms of a model-driven rate they've come up with. The model does not reflect individual locations within the shopping center, but rather appears to be more a one rate fits all, regardless of where you are in the shopping center. The model also appears to have no resemblance to actual rental rate market conditions as at April 1, 2018. Understand this is a very different and difficult valuation to come up with as of this date, because not every tenant in the shopping center is signing a new lease as of April 1, 2018. I submit to you that Warehouse 1 would not be in this shopping center today if the city's estimated rental rate in the neighborhood of $47 per square foot was market value at that time. Therefore, I would submit that the estimated value is not a fair representation, and that a fair representation of value for the premises I occupy in St. Vital Center is $21.50 per square foot.
Thank you very much. Ms. Tenoir, do you have questions for Mr. Armstrong?
Yes, Madam Chair. The $21.50, which is the net lease for post-reference net lease rent, or your only suggestion of the rental rate?
Can you repeat your question, please?
Okay, $21.50. What is your suggested rental rate for the Warehouse 1? Is it a agreed net lease amount, or your suggestion? But even though that net lease is the post reference in March 5th, 2019.
$21.50 is my estimated rate as of April 1, 2018. Subsequent to the reference date, I signed a lease for less than this amount because I think there were continued deteriorations in the market value of the shopping center. I likely would have signed a lease on April 1, 2018 at $21.50 if given that opportunity. I didn't have that opportunity because I had premises across the street and I couldn't afford to have two locations across the street from one another. $21.50 is my estimated rate of market value at April 1, 2018.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's all my questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Buss.
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Marks?
No questions for me, thank you.
Nor do I. Okay, well, thank you very much. I think that we have now completed the docket for this morning, and I will close the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Have a good day.
Thank you.